Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Susan Suchocki Brown, and I'm so glad to be with you this morning and so glad that you could be with us. This is South Church, Unitarian Universalist in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and we're delighted to have you be part of our worship service this morning. Each and every week, as we put together a worship service, we are graced with the presence of worship associates and with music people. And it is such a delight to work with the worship associates that help to bring quality worship experience to you. And this morning, I'm joined by Myra Aaronson. Myra, can you tell us about the rest of the service, please? And welcome. I'm glad you're here with me.
Thank you, Susan. And good morning to all of you. I am pleased to be with you in cyberspace this morning in my role as one of the 8 worship associates who work with our interim minister, the Rev Susan Suchocki Brown, our director of Lifespan Ministries, Kirsten Hunter, who is also our video producer this week. Thank you, Kirsten. Our director of music ministry, Joanne Connolly, and all of our musicians and staff to create worship services each week. If you regularly attend service, welcome again this morning. And if you are tuning in for the first time, a special welcome to you. I'm glad you decided to join us today. Joanne, can you tell us about today's music?
Yes, thank you, Myra. This morning we are having music around Reverend Susan's choice of sermon around connection and belonging. So Susan Adams and I have chosen music around that. And this morning we will only sing one hymn so we can get right to the annual meeting.
Thanks, Joanne. Another wonderful part of our service, in addition to the music and the sermon, of course, is the time for all ages, when each week we get to hear a delightful and meaningful story related to our theme in some way. Today's story will be told by Kirsten Hunter and Jen Deldeo, our dynamic duo, and it was written by them as well. As Joanne mentioned, after the service today is our annual meeting. And that will be during the time that we normally have our virtual social hour. So take a moment after the postlude to get your cup of coffee or tea and settle in for the presentations and discussions. You should have received a copy of the annual report either by email or in hard copy delivered to you by one of our fabulous volunteers. The link to the meeting is in the email you received last night or this morning and on the Members and Friends Facebook page. And now for the announcements, which will be followed by the invocation.
Every first Sunday, the Chant from Different Traditions group meets from 9 to 9:30 a.m. for now on Zoom. All are welcome. Contact Kathy Okeisen at kathomusic@gmail.com for more information and for the Zoom link. The next meeting will be on February 7th at 9 a.m. The South Church Spiritual Book Group is hosting a film discussion in February. We will discuss On the Basis of Sex, a movie about Ruth Bader Ginsburg written by her nephew, on Wednesday, February 10th at 7 p.m. Please watch the film in advance of the discussion. All are welcome. Contact South Church Book Group at gmail.com for the Zoom link. Are you new to South Church or a longtime attendee who wants to know more? The Fellowship Associates are hosting their Spring Journey to Membership classes at 11:15 a.m. on Sundays, March 7th, 14th, and 21st. The 90-minute virtual sessions are an opportunity to explore and share individual spiritual journeys and learn more about South Church. For more information, please contact fellowship@southchurch-uu.org.
Hello, I am Mary Bannock. I am a social justice associate. Each month, half of our Offertory collection is shared with a nonprofit organization. We have completed the process of nominating organizations for the ballot for this year. Now every member of South Church is encouraged to vote to select the organizations we will support for the 12 months beginning April 2021. Anytime during the month of February, you may vote your ballot online. Each member has 5 total votes on one ballot. Make sure you include your name on the ballot. Any ballot without a name or with more than 5 votes will not be counted. Complete instructions will be on the ballot. You can find a link to the ballot on the South Church website. To help you with your voting, on the church website, there will also be a spreadsheet with the names of the organizations on the ballot, their websites, and a short description about each organization. Thank you for your support of Shared Plate.
Good morning. I am Angela Newbury here on behalf of the Board of Trustees. In normal years at congregational meeting, we would give roses of recognition to members who have gone above and beyond in service of South Church. Because we are Zooming our meeting later today, we are splitting the appreciations throughout the month of January. I would like to thank the entirety of the Property Committee for keeping the church buildings safe and sound until we can meet in person again. The dedicated members of the Property Committee are Kevin Leahy, Cindy Brown, Sky Marr, Kim Schnell, and Chair Bill Blum. We are so grateful for all of your time and energy. Additionally, I would like to thank members of the board who have stepped down this year, former board chair Andrew Cease and former treasurer Chris Redmond, as well as retiring board member Dave Drucker, who has served on the board for 6 years, bringing a wide variety of nonprofit experience, knowledge, and compassion to the table. My fellow board members join me in wishing them all well and will miss their contributions greatly. I'm sure we will see them again in any number of other volunteer opportunities at South Church. Thanks again.
Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better world waiting if we try, Lord, if we try. I was singing with my sisters, I was singing with my friends, and we all can sing together, 'cause the circle never ends. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better world awaiting if we try, Lord, if we try.
One morning in 1971, John Lennon sat down at his piano, and the result was this. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. When John Lennon released this song in 1971, the world was a very different place. Or was it? In some ways, we have made significant progress. In others, maybe we have regressed. 1971 was the year I graduated from college, and it was possible to imagine that we were on our way to achieving Lennon's vision. During my college years, the years of both Kent State and the first Earth Day, newly easy access to the birth control pill, and the Stonewall riots, society was changing at warp speed, even on my small campus. In my freshman year, girls were required to wear skirts or dresses to dinner, if you can believe it. And then that spring, someone organized a protest. We would wear trench coats to the dining hall, and at the prearranged signal, we would take off the trench coats and reveal shorts, not skirts.
The world didn't come to an end, and nobody went crazy, and the administration decided not to make a fuss about it, and just like that, no more dress code. It happened because somebody imagined that it could. Not every change is so easily won. We are at a crossroads in our country right now, a time that will take much imagination, courage, collaboration, and patience to navigate. We are at a crossroads in our congregation right now, and our search committee has put enormous time and energy into helping us imagine and articulate the kind of minister we hope will lead us into our next chapter. Our outstanding ABC group helped us imagine our way to pledging nearly $500,000 in a year when we haven't even entered the church building or been together. If you can imagine it, you can achieve it, is a saying that has been printed on many posters. Given the deeply rooted systemic inequalities in our culture, that is simply not true for too many people. I think it is more true that if you don't imagine something, you won't achieve it. So let us devote ourselves to imagining and then creating a safer, kinder world. Now is the time we light our chalice, and I invite you to light your candle at home as we watch Reverend Susan light the chalice in our sanctuary, to these words from Sharon Wiley. Let this be the place you consider what you've never considered. Let this be the place you imagine for yourself something new and unthinkable. May this hour bring dreams of new ways of being in the world. Come, let us worship together.
Please join me in our mission statement. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people and inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be with you today. As always, I'm Kirsten Hunter.
And I'm Jen Del Deo.
I think they know.
Yeah, I think they're on to us. Okay, so it's not really Kirsten and Jen. I'm a potato that's pretending to be Jen.
And I'm an apple and I'm pretending to be Kirsten. Just a couple pieces of produce using our imaginations. Kirsten and Jen are getting ready for the annual congregational meeting right now, so we're standing in for them. We thought we could trick you into thinking we're them, but you don't seem fooled. We are longtime South Church members, though. If we're not familiar to you, it's because we mostly sit in the back pews at church and then hang around the kitchen during coffee hour.
So we're here today to do the Time for All Ages. Like Apple Kirsten mentioned, after worship today is the South Church annual meeting. And what that means is everyone who's part of our church can go to this gathering where all the business stuff of our church is discussed. You may remember from an RE class that our fifth principle in Unitarian Universalism is the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. Or a different way that we sometimes say that is, we believe that all people should have a vote about the things that concern them. So the people of South Church decide together and vote on how the church will run, who we want to be together, and what we want to grow toward.
Right. And our theme this month is still imagination. Imagination is really helpful in that process of deciding who we want to be together, what we want to grow toward. Each one of us has a very particular perspective and lots of particular talents, and we bring those to the community with our voice and our vote. Together, we can imagine big, beautiful ideas, and we can figure out together how to make them real. This helps us always keep improving and not get stuck in one place.
Yeah, and this process isn't easy. Working together, especially when there are a lot of different ideas and different kinds of people, can be really challenging. Maybe you've experienced a time where you disagreed with someone about how something should go or what's fair. This is another place where imagination can be so helpful. If we're having a disagreement with someone, it can be really helpful to imagine what it's like to be that other person. For example, Apple Kirsten and I were going to make some lunch. She wanted French fries and I wanted apple pie. We were arguing a little about it, but then she imagined what it would be like to be a potato, and realizing that French fries are usually made from potatoes, she was able to understand why I was upset about that idea. And I thought about how so many pies are made from apples, and I imagined being her and how the idea of apple pie for lunch might not feel good. So we stopped arguing and we had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
In other news, today is the last day of January. Tomorrow will be February 1st. And you know, there's a different theme each month. For all of January, we've been talking about imagination. Starting tomorrow, February's theme is beloved community. That's something we're always kind of working on in some ways, but it will be good to really focus on what beloved community means. It's an idea that Dr. King talked about that asks us to build a world where justice, equal opportunity, and love for all people are the most important goals. So since today is like the bridge between those two themes, we thought we would mention how these two themes go together really well, because imagination is really helpful too in creating something like we just said before. And to create a beloved community, we have to first be able to imagine where we want to go. And then we have to imagine how we might get there.
Yeah, so let's all close our eyes for a minute.
Wait, I can't close my eyes.
All right, that's okay. Just try to imagine a world where every person is cared for. Imagine that everyone has what they need to be safe and healthy and respected and to have the opportunity to thrive. Right now, that's not the case, especially for Black, Indigenous, and people of color, people with disabilities, people of certain genders or orientations, and for some other groups of people. Let's also start to imagine how we can work together to make the world better for all people. There will be disagreements, there will be hard work, we will have to make hard decisions, and we will have to make some changes that could be really uncomfortable for a lot of us. We will make mistakes and we will keep trying.
I'm ready to try. How about you, Potato Jen?
I am definitely ready to try, especially knowing that I have all of you trying with me.
We miss you and we can't wait to see you soon.
Yeah. We love you.
Jen's a potato, Kirsten's an apple. I'm some soup. I bet you didn't know this was coming. I'm some soup. I bet you didn't know this was coming, coming.
It is now time for our morning offering, which makes it possible for us to operate within our congregation and in the larger community. Along those lines, our shared plate recipient this month is Planned Parenthood of Northern New Hampshire, which offers a full range of reproductive and sexual health care services for people of all genders, as well as cancer screenings, immunizations, and wellness visits, all priced on a sliding scale. Within our own congregation, even when we're meeting on Zoom, we still need to maintain our building and pay our staff, who work to create and support our programs and help us fulfill our spiritual needs. You can give online using the donate button on our website or send a check in the mail to 73 Court Street in Portsmouth. Details are on your screen.
Let us take a couple of moments of time for reflection and prayer. This special and precious morning, let us be grateful for the opportunity to gather together in a time of worship, a time of music, a time of hearing the voices of people, and of being in house surrounded by our loved ones. And whether you are in your home surrounded by people or in your own space, let's always have you know that you are not alone, that we're here, that we miss you, that we're thinking of you, that we care for you. This past week in New Hampshire alone marked 1,000 deaths with the COVID virus. And our hearts go out to all those who suffer in all of this country. The loss is devastating and the pain is overwhelming as people are not able to get together in the normal way to grieve and to remember. Know that we care about you, that we're with you in thought and prayer. This past week, we had lovely snow, and the freshness and sparkle of it was a delight to envision as it covers over and brings a new lightness to this time of year that can be so dull. I want you to know that you're not alone, that we think of you. We're sending out prayers to all of our congregation members and friends and your beloveds who are dealing with health issues, pending surgeries, concerns, economic and family and social. We are joined together. We are connected together. We're a community that cares. And with that in mind, I invite you to take some time during the meditative music to write down your prayer needs, your thoughts, your concerns, your cares in the chat box so that we can reach out to you if you want us to, or just hold you in our hearts. We are together. We will get through this time together. Be, know, and feel the love. May it be so. Tradition is what we are built on. Vision is what we are striving for. And words can help us move toward our best selves. Traditions are the history that inform now. They are the actions that we take based on actions done in the past. Traditions are simply the patterns of acting and being done over and over again, yet they give meaning and represent core values. And yet there is nothing simple about traditions, for they are deeply rooted in history. Most traditions have remained in place because they work, because they serve a purpose, because they have withstood the test of time, experiences, and challenges. Traditions inform a group's culture, its practices, and its ways of being together. An annual meeting is a tradition and a part of history. In New England in particular, the meeting was when all matters civic and spiritual. Please remember that there was no separation of church and state until mid-1800s. So the annual meeting was where decisions were made that affected the entire community. The tradition of gathering to hear reports, to vote on leadership, to vote on how money was to be raised and spent, and who would serve and how, was done with intention and forethought, just as today's annual meeting will be. At South Church, which grew from South Parish of Portsmouth, this tradition has been going on about 390 years, when South Parish built its own meeting house in 1731. And this split was when North Church and South Church each declared its own identity. It's a little hard to get a firm date on when South Church began gathering, but a quick history review from the Athenaeum webpage states that South Parish built its first meeting house 1731. At the time, it split into two parishes. Now that that information is correct, South Church has been upholding the tradition of a congregational meeting for an awfully long time. And each and every time a congregation meeting was held, discussion would have helped decide the direction, purpose, and future vision. Vision leads us forward. It motivates, energizes, provides other ways of being, explores possibility. It imagines new ways. And though it is oftentimes based on past traditions, vision thrives when it is open-heartedly embracing new perspectives. I want to share a Native American tale that Chief Gary Batten of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma recounted. I read this in a recent edition of the Christian Century. He was reflecting on the different perspectives that Indigenous leaders have about politics and civic leadership. Shining light onto the truth about who we are and who we can be requires a unique sort of vision, he said, and he continues. My ancestors believed long ago that the maker of all things gave each tribe of creation a special gift. To the bears went strength, to the eagles wisdom, to the deer grace and beauty. And the human beings had none of these gifts, for they were not as strong, wise, or beautiful as the other animals. But they were given one thing that was special to them, vision. The ability to see both what is now and what is coming to be. This sacred vision is our holy inheritance, and what we can see and speak, we will become. This past month, as we have been preparing for the annual meeting, and as we waited with bated breath for there to be the transfer of power from one president to a new one, I've been thinking about traditions and the manifestation of realities through words that lead to action, and how the power of believing in our potential and others believing in our potential can help us envision new and other ways of being. As I was watching the inauguration, a long-standing tradition that marks the transfer of executive government from one president to another, I heard these words. We are very good, but not as good as we could be. When I heard those words, I thought of them as a powerful message that went beyond the political, beyond the particular event of the day, but wise words to guide our lives both personally and socially. They, to me, are a reminder of our beautiful imperfection and of our possibilities. They are a reminder of our relationships. For isn't it often the case that if someone believes and says to us that we are very good, but can be better, that it motivates us to change, to try again, to take course corrections, to accept our shortcomings, and to strive to readjust. Now, someone might take exception to those words, but I heard them as hopeful, as positive, as affirming the potential in me and in each and every person. And because, spoken words carry weight. Words move people to react and to act, to respond. Words carry purpose, meaning, and memory. Words matter in helping us to become the persons we want to be. Very good, and sometimes not as good as we could be. Words matter. Now, think of the vows of marriage or of commitment to another, or when we are parenting, or when we are in partnerships or part of a group or members of a congregation with those we deeply care about, and the visions and ideals we want to see manifest come about because we understand we are very good and not yet as good as we could be. And I suggest this means accepting our imperfections, the incompleteness of life, and being willing to be in deep relationship where honesty, vulnerability, humbleness, and trusting that the words, we are very good and not yet good enough, are an invitation to transformation, to correction, For isn't it true that the relationships that we are in and the relationships which have lasted are informed and sustained by someone believing in us and in our potential? On December 31st at midnight, Ron and I celebrated 20 years of marriage, and we married on the precipice of a new century. We have been together over 35 years, and there have been years when we were not as good as we could be. I suspect you can all relate to that. But truly, it is a notion that we are good but not as good as we could be that keeps us in a commitment to something bigger than either one of us alone. Is that the case with you? That someone believes in you and that helps you to be better? So whether it is here today as a member of the congregation or in your personal life, I encourage you to accept the beautiful, beautiful imperfection of being very good, but not yet as good as you can be. Accept it as a motivator. And may we become settled in our imperfection, forgiving ourselves and others. And may we use words to soothe and lead, console, empower, to remember, and most of all, to encourage. And may we also seek to be in right relationship with one another and deepen our connections to learn through experiences where we make mistakes. We reflect on the learnings from those mistakes, and we can use imagination to envision, to dream, to become more together than we ever thought possible. For by being together, more is possible if we can learn to love the imperfections of ourselves and of everyone else's humanness as an inspiration, and then a vision will emerge to lead us forward. May it be so.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And as we prepare to leave here, let us let go of that fantasy of perfection. And notice the paths but be in the now and build for the future. If those around us can see past our mistakes and love us when we are not as good as we could be, then imagine if we give voice to and shine light on a vision of something lovely and wonderful. Only imagine what awaits us as we join together in common purpose and an inspired and lovely vision. Go in peace, go in love, be peace, be love. May it be so.